So our next question is from Joe Weatherby.
Okay, where's Joe?
Good afternoon. My question was on the Bretton-Woods system. I know you've touched a lot on Glass-Steagall, but I know in your papers that that was another important aspect of your economic policy, especially in as an international policy. To touch more on that. And also, what can we expect once we can get Glass-Steagall and Bretton-Woods going and the NWAPA project? You always seem with people like Andrew Jackson and Harry S. Truman, a constant just undermining everything that the American government or the American people have tried to do since its birth. It seems like we've been at war through the whole entire since our Declaration of Independence, and how to stop regressing and allowing individuals like Andrew Jackson and Harry S. Truman to continue to undermine us. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's not that difficult to understand, at least not for me. And my job is to convey that. I've had some success, you know. I created what became known as the SDI, which would have saved us from a lot of things. I succeeded, and I had support from leading people in France, such as the circles of Charles de Gaulle. I had support from leading people in Germany. I had support from leading people in Italy, some of the leading military figures of those countries in that time. We had a design which I had initiated, and I found other people in various countries, including the United States. Many people in the United States were recruited to the same thing, leading scientists. I was involved with a scientific organization which dealt with these kinds of things, and I went on alone and made my own initiative, and I found that I had people in the Russian, the Soviet system at the time, and other systems who were all understood the strategic significance of what I was proposing. And it worked. But unfortunately, the President of the United States was induced to support the SDI, which is my proposal. The SDI is still alive in the world today. The Russians, for example, have adopted it now again on the basis of the defense of Earth against, guess what? You've got big rocks out there which are floating around in our environment, our solar system, and these big rocks are flying close by the Earth. Now, some of these rocks are small rocks, and they can go through the Earth's atmosphere without doing too much disturbing of the climate at that time. But you get a big rock that hits the Earth, and people on Earth are dead. In other words, a sufficiently large rock coming from an asteroid and hitting the Earth head on, and we come to many of these big rocks which could do that, and the population of the planet Earth is dead, extinct. So that's the kind of thing you have to look at. You have to look at the great events which shape these kinds of issues. That's my business. That's what I'm good at. That's why I'm influential internationally and why I'm feared by many people, especially since the official presentation of the SDI. I have been persona non grata with all the enemies of such policies, so I'm quite familiar with this stuff. And that's essentially in forecasting today. That's what the issue is: to understand the galactic physical factors within the solar system and beyond and on Earth, which determine the preconditions of human life. We're now entering a period in the galaxy and in the solar system itself, which you may have noticed in the change of weather in the past year. We're now entering a period in which there's increased danger to the human species as a whole by the kinds of conditions which have now entered into the solar system through a change which has occurred in the position of the solar system with respect to the galactic position in the galaxy. So we're now in a situation where we have to forecast and find means of forecasting, not only how to colonize Mars and the moon, which the moon we're familiar with, Mars will also have to become familiar with, but also within this solar system. We have to elect defenses which are prepared to pre-detect and to divert very large rocks and similar kinds of things from the vicinity within the solar system, which could lead to the destruction of people on the planet. Incidentally, the current president, Obama, has canceled all those programs which are absolutely essential to prevent human beings on Earth from becoming extinct through a large rock which could have been diverted. In other words, if we go into the range of Mars orbit, and if you have a position out there in Mars orbit range in which you've got a large rock that's coming at Earth, and you know it, and you know what the trajectory is, you can, with a limited amount of effort, you can divert that rock so it doesn't hit Earth. And you may recall that this past year there was one big rock which came between Earth and the moon. If it had hit Earth, we'd be dead. So this is the kind of thing you have to think about. You have to think about the long range effects in economic practice, in developments in nature, and all these other conditions. You have to have institutions which are competent to understand what these threats are and have the competence and the efficient ability to do something about it. And that is really it. If I say what's necessary, the forecast is NWAPA, NWAPA is necessary. If I say Glass-Steagall is necessary, I know Glass-Steagall is indispensable for the human people. And this coming year, we now face under Obama a sudden food shortages because we're going to miss about 2 crop years. And people in the United States are going to die of hunger if Obama's policies continue inside the United States as a result of this. This is true particularly in the states which were affected by these great storms this past year. And people are going to start dying. So there is such a thing as forecasting. But forecasting is generally of that nature. It's physical essentially. It's forecasting physical events, including diseases, plagues, epidemics. And you have to have the ability to foresee these things coming or to react when they start coming. And you have to know what it's going to take to deal with the problem. And you're going to set forth proposed laws and other actions which locate these problems and deal with them. So real forecasting is not pie in the sky. It's not gambling. It's not betting on a gambling table. It's understanding the physical science involved in the way productive actions and other kinds of actions affect the future of humanity. That's what forecasting is. It's physical scientific forecasting, which enables us to detect the problems we have to cope with, to find the advantages we have to develop, and to make sure that we do things to protect humanity in general. All this statistical forecasting, throw it out, forget it. It's utterly incompetent, it's a waste of time. It's a diversion. It's worse than nothing.